I'm just going to go ahead and start with an apology with how long this has taken to get uploaded and with how many comments and messages I was getting about, hey, please drop the Gear Breakdown 2026 video. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm not even going to give you excuses. I'm just going to say sorry. For those of you who are new to the channel, the Gear Breakdown video usually talks about the equipment that I used in the year prior, what worked, what didn't. But because this video is so late to publish, we're just going to primarily talk about what we're bringing into 2026. We might talk about the stuff from the year prior, but again, this is all going to be up in the air, and we're just kind of ad-libbing this whole thing as it goes. I have some very forward progressing and forward thinking bosses that are super cool with this kind of stuff. Their philosophy is, hey, as long as it looks professional and it looks clean and it's going to allow you to do your job better, you're good to go. So for the video, I decided to put the gear on so you guys could see how the gear looks on my persons, and also it makes it a little bit easier for me to talk about it as I'm wearing it. Starting with the belt. The belt is an Agilite magnetics belt. The belt works well. I absolutely have no issues with it. One of the big things that set this belt apart is obviously in the name, it's the magnetics belt. So all you really need to do, put your inner belt on, make sure the magnets are to your small of your back, hover the outer belt around it. As soon as you hover it, you'll see the rare earth magnets want to connect to each other. As soon as the magnets connect, it's super consistent to put the belt on. So it's the same spot every time. Your gun's located in the same spot. Do you need the magnets? No, but it is a nice addition to have on the belt. So if I start talking about the belt from left to right as I'm wearing it, the first thing you're gonna see is an STAC angled mag carrier with a magnet on it. Super nifty. There's some of the main reasons why I like this thing is one, sitting in a car, moving my legs up and down, all the above, you'll notice that the mag carrier is not driving into my upper thigh, which is something that I've noticed in the past with mag carriers that are vertically up and down. And also because that there is a cant in the magazine, what's super nice is at the moment I lean forward, stand back up, all that other stuff, the carrier isn't catching my magazines to rip my magazines out. And obviously, because it is canted, it's a lot easier for me to swipe the magazine out for that speed reload if I need to do that. Again, the speed reload isn't everything, but if you can have equipment that, one, makes your life a little bit easier, so where it's not poking you, and it does have more of a smooth, efficient reload, you can't fault that. And when it comes to the STAC carrier, that magnet's located on the front. Super nice when you're on the range or even at work and you need to pick something up and you just want to attach it to the magnet. It's super cool. I haven't needed to use this thing expeditiously, but there was a point in time where I was carrying a Surefire XEL2 IRC on my pistol, which was essentially like a PEC 15 that sits under your pistol. It needed an Allen wrench in order to take the light on and off. I stuck the Allen wrench here for about 3 weeks, never got lost. The moment I took it off to put it somewhere, that's when it got lost. So sometimes the magnet does help. So directly behind the pistol mag carriers, I have like a 3-in-1 system here that I kind of affixed myself. So it's holding the mag carrier in the dump pouch on my belt is going to be a Blade Tech lock system. Highly recommend those things. They lock into place really nicely. The only thing I would recommend that you do is if you do run the Blade Tech, having a Velcro hook and loop on the inside so that it connects to your outer belt and it doesn't want to slide forward and backwards. Directly attached to the Blade Tech, I have a Ridgeline Defense drop mount for your magazine carrier. So the drop mount pretty much works for almost any mag carrier that I've seen, whether that be Kydex or whether that be nylon, kind of like the STAC, which was like a hybrid. So the reason why I like this thing so much is that if you'll notice, at least with a 20+5 round magazine on the belt, it kind of sits parallel almost to my belt line, and it makes it a little bit easier for me to grab that magazine, which is what I like, versus the traditional mag carriers where you had to reach your arm way up because the magazine sits higher. So I wanted to avoid that. The STAC mag carrier here, super nice. It's got 2 rows of MOLLE, so I'm able to attach stuff via MOLLE if I want to. It's also super short, which is something that I was looking for. So because that magazine carrier is so short, I'm able to grab the magazine and get good purchase on the magazine, because I always hated magazine carriers that are like, you only can grab a little bit of the mag. So that's just a personal thing, even if you're running 30s. So running a 20, obviously it's a little bit more important for me versus if I was running a 30. And now directly behind the STAC mag carrier, I have an Agilite dump pouch. So the Agilite dump pouch is super cool. It's rigid, it's nice. I am a big fan of dump pouches for SWAT and or patrol. So when it comes to the dump pouch, it could be for people's property, it could be for seized weapons, it could be for anything really. But mainly it's like my pouch, so when stuff needs to go away, I'm like, meh, I could just dump it in the dump pouch, so it's super easy. The only thing is, if I do recommend if you were planning on putting like other people's property, narcotics or whatever in this bag, you can take like an evidence bag and shove it in the dump pouch, so it kind of like acts as like a liner, and you just throw the items in the evidence bag as it's housed in your dump pouch, just so you don't have to decontaminate your dump pouch. Although I would still recommend you decontaminate your dump pouch when you can. So directly behind my rifle mag carry, I have a blue Force Gear handcuff pouch. Super nifty. It's just a handcuff pouch. It's aesthetically pleasing. I like the way it looks. It's rigid, so I could put the cuffs in and out with no issues at all without having to worry about it deforming. And directly behind the handcuffs, there's a little elastic band where I can keep latex gloves. On the same topic of latex gloves, small at the back, have another holder for latex gloves. Personally, I don't think I need that thing. I'm probably gonna take it off after this video and just shove latex gloves in my pocket. Just make it easier for myself. I don't need to have another pouch on my belt. So directly behind my pistol is a Thyrim battery holder. I'm a big fan of having spare batteries on your persons if you can, especially the 18650s that's required to power the mod light. Not saying that the mod light dies quickly. I'm not saying that at all. I actually love the mod light, and it's probably my favorite flashlight. We'll get to that here in a second. But because I'm using the flashlight significantly more on graveyard shift, the batteries are more prone to die quicker, right? So super easy to use. You just push down on this little latch, lift the cover up. Once you lift the cover up, the battery will fall into your hand. Do your change your batteries real quick, throw the dead one in there. When you get back to the office, recharge your batteries, no issues at all. We're gonna talk about pistols and holsters directly after we talk about the patrol equipment, because I believe they were, in my honest opinion, they require their own segment. But the way I have my holster and my gun attached to my belt is actually going to be with a Blade Tech system. So Blade Tech makes a super cool disc system that's located on the back of their holsters. It's just really nice because you're able to cant the holster relatively easy. And that's something that I've always wanted, to not have to worry about unscrewing things and screwing things back on just to cant the holster. And we haven't had any retention issues with these bad boys. And so until we've encountered them, this seems to be the way to go for me. So directly in front of the holster, I have a Soil Eater tourniquet holder, which is currently holding a Snake Eater tourniquet. Located on this tourniquet carrier as well, I have a little holder for a pen of some sort or a marker. So that's super nifty to have there, especially if I don't know where my vest pen is. I could always pull one out of here. Now it's time for the carrier. So the carrier that I'm currently wearing right now is the Perros Designs LPSPC V2. The carrier is great. So far, it's my most comfortable carrier. That's why I'm wearing it on patrol. So the carrier is kind of a modge-podge. So we have for the internal armor, we have Ferro Concepts Level 3A inserts for the front and back. We have Ferro Concepts armor for the sides using their armor holder with cummerbunds from Perros. What's nice about the armor in conjunction with the actual cummerbund, it's breathable and it's super like stout, which kind of acts as its own chassis system. So with the cummerbunds itself from Perros, what's really nice is that there's an elastic stretch. So I do have the ability to like move the vest and know that I'm not completely like claustrophobic in this thing. So top to bottom here, Kenwood radio with a Kenwood microphone. We don't need to go into that because that's work stuff. Axon body cam mount, obviously. And the way I have the Axon body camera mounted to my chest here is you've taken the standard single like barred Axon mount, and I've gotten a piece from Guardian Warrior Solutions that uses his Tigris to sit here on the back. And the reason why I like that to attach to the vest itself is it's a lot skinnier. So it sits a lot tighter to the body, which is something that I wanted because, again, I already have a lot of bulk. I want to minimize on that as much as possible. I've opted for the body cam to be, for me, a little bit higher. Me being a shorter statured person, the issue comes into play. When the body cam was down here, you couldn't see into certain windows, into cars or whatever. It didn't give the viewer of the body cam a better perspective to what I see in my eyes see. I am a believer that the body cam helps us a lot more than it doesn't help us. So big fan of having this to where I can see things. So therefore dictation, articulation, my reports are a lot better. The patches that I have here, like for the badge and the stuff that I wear, on my shoulders and stuff, all from Patch Panel. Big recommendation there. Patch Panel is a great company, great to work with. You send them designs of your agency's patch. They will have one for you and they'll make it in PVC. For our agency, we've authorized the ability to have Velcro sleeves, and the reason for that was you could rip the patches off and then now it's no longer a work uniform. And if I buy an expensive jacket of some sort, next thing you know, I have to get agency patches sewn into it, and that jacket is only good for work now. Now I have the ability to remove and add Velcro patches to my arms to make that a work jacket or not a work jacket. And also, it's just a lot easier to clean. When traditionally, when you have the patches sewn onto a uniform, you run the risk of like the everything getting damaged in the washer, all that other stuff. Now it's simple as getting Windex, wiping it down. Now your patches look as good as new. So the placard I'm wearing right now is from Dynamic Principles. I think their patrol placard. It sits a little bit lower, which I like, so it gives me the ability to reach in and grab certain things that are in the actual placard itself. On both the left and right-hand side of the placard, it does have MOLLE, so you can actually attach stuff to it, which I have here on the sides. Starting from the left, we have the shatter balls that are just, attached to the side MOLLE here. The shatter balls, initially when I first got them, I thought they were gimmicky. It gives you a way to break windows and break glass from a distance, which I think is huge, especially in our line of work. So you can literally, it's magnetized to the carrier. So all I do is pull this thing off, flick this thing at a window, it will shatter the window. So in that perspective, it's great. And again, these are rescue tools. So I'm a big fan of having rescue tools because you never know when you're gonna need them. And when you do need them, it's gonna be pretty exigent at that point. So when you need the ability to break windows, this is a great tool to have. On the left side of the placard, I have a Soul Eater Taser 7 holder. It's a big old thing of Kydex. This thing is actually really stout and really solid. He has the ability to add a second level of retention to this thing, which is a little thumb snap, which I opted to not have, but you can do that if you want to. So if your agency requires that, this is a great tool to have. Big fan of things like this, especially for a taser holster. Like when you're looking at Kydex and stuff, it's a lot easier to be able to stow the taser versus if you had like a nylon pouch or something crazy, or even for the guys and gals that wear jumpsuits, trying to stow that thing away quickly gets a little bit difficult because the material wants to fold in on itself. And if you don't have a dump pouch, yeah, that starts to become problematic. So Kydex materials like this or just your standard taser holsters are always going to be good, but I cannot recommend the Soul Eater enough. Here in the center, it's Dynamic Principles pouch. It's their like radio pouch, which is fine. It holds the radio with absolutely no issues. On the right-hand side here, I have a defense mechanisms pouch that I put some double-sided Velcro on the other side, so now I can shove it in the placard with no issues. Usually the way I run this bad boy is the magazine would be right here, and then the flashlight would be here. Just really depends. And this pouch right here is a Blue Force gear. I love the elastic stuff, but again, you run into issues with not being able to reholster the item. But the reason why I like this magazine pouch right here and with the bullets facing away from me is if I'm ever doing single hand manipulations of the gun, I could drop mag and I can grab the magazine that's sitting right here and I could gas it up. Or especially if you're on a shield, you can grab the magazines right here versus having to reach on the other side of your belt to grab the magazines. Right next to my quick release for the cummerbund 09 Kydex key fob holder. Highly recommend this thing. Super nice to be able to just tap one of the buttons that's located on like the key fob that's attached to your carrier rather than reaching for a pair of jingling keys. Directly on the small of my back, I have the Ferro Concepts Roll One, which holds primarily medical gear. It's super nice. This Roll One takes real estate that wasn't previously occupied. So because of that, it's not like adding any extra bulk to the front end of my kit. So it's super nice. All I have to do is pull tab left or right and just pull this whole system out. Once I pull the system out, unroll it, I have trauma shears, I have tape, I have gauze, chest seals, all the above. So all the medical gear is in there. And remember, it's meant to be taken out expeditiously, not put away expeditiously. So once you take this bad boy out, cool. Highly recommend you take your vest off, re-put it back in the way it should be, and you won't run into any issues next time you need to deploy it. So for the flashlight, it's the Mod Light PLH V2 head. It's their handheld light. This flashlight is amazing. I love this thing. I cannot speak highly enough about the Mod Light handheld flashlights. These things put a lot of power out there. It's one of the few flashlights that I've seen right now that has the ability to punch through tinted windows, I think, which is huge. If you'll notice on the flashlight itself, I have a piece of glow-in-the-dark tape, which is super nice. If you drop this thing, if it falls, whatever, you can see it, and it gives you an ability to find it. But you always want to make sure that if you put the glow-in-the-dark tape on this bad boy, it sits low enough to where you can't see it if someone's looking at you. I've gone through 3 mod lights at this point, and the first 2 were lost because I'm a dumb dinky dookie, and I'm on number 3 right now. I don't regret it. If I lose this one, I'm buying another one because I don't think anyone makes a better handheld flashlight. So because of a recent SWAT operation, some of the equipment that's currently on my patrol vest that would usually be here is on my SWAT kit right now. And 2 of those items are gonna be My earpiece from Sheepdog Defense. I'm a big fan of the earpieces. The earpieces, these are the tiny ones that are super skinny with the really small wire that stick in your ear. You don't realize they're there, which is what I love, which is what I love about them the most. Highly recommend those bad boys. So the other piece of equipment that I would usually have that I'm carrying appendix, like right here underneath my carrier, is going to be the BRB, the Breaching Rescue Bar from Good Dudes. The Good Dudes Breaching Rescue Bar is probably one of the best pieces of equipment that I could recommend to anyone watching this video right now. The way I look at the tool is that it's a solution to a majority of breaching problems that you will encounter as a patrolman. Obviously, SWAT breaching problems are a little bit more complex depending on the operation that you're conducting, but on a patrol level, I think it's great to have that tool because it can help you solve problems, breaching problems, and then help you find the solutions with the tool. So I won't talk about it too much. Look at their website, take a look at them, highly recommend them. The way I have the tool usually housed is through a carrier from Hyperion Strategies. So super cool. It kind of like Velcros in like a fanny pack right underneath the carrier. And it has magnets to include friction so that the moment you slide the carrier in there, it's nice and sturdy. If you want to just attach it real quick, you can just slap it against the magnet. It'll stay there. It's probably the most comfortable way to carry the Breaching Rescue Bar. I haven't found any more comfortable ways to do it. And so if you're looking for a good carrier, Hyperion Strategies is probably going to be the way to go for you. So other than the latex gloves, the other pair of gloves that I carry are the Magpul technical gloves. These gloves are awesome. I like them a lot, mainly because I feel like I shoot with them pretty well and I can manipulate the gun pretty well compared to other gloves. They're tight fitting, which is super nice, and they're not bulky, which is, again, a major plus. The way I store these gloves is usually by putting them in the front waistband as if I was appendix carrying gloves. The only thing that I would caution is if you are touching people with these things and they get nasty, I am cognizant of putting them down my pants, essentially. The only issue that I've found is that when I shove these in back pockets or whatever, they always fall out. So that's why I shove them in the waistband. But, always looking for better solutions to carry these bad boys. If not, just shoving them deeper in a cargo pocket. So for pocket knives, I know a lot of people love pocket knives. I am a big fan of this blade from High Desert Blade Works. It's like a karambit style blade, super nifty. I could shove this in the pocket. As long as this lip right here catches the edge of the pocket, it'll auto deploy the knife. I'm not a big knife guy, and I don't have this knife for any specific reason to oh no, I need to be able to do really, crazy things with a knife. It's just a utility tool. And as far as a blade, this one from High Desert Blade Works worked really well. I like it a lot. Now for the pistol and the holsters. So currently what's on my duty belt right now, I have a Staccato HD 4.5 that was sent off to Monsoon. Vinny over at Monsoon made this gun probably one of my favorite guns right now. It's always between this and the Bull Armory. We'll get to that here in a minute. But the HD 4.5 now has a comp on the front end of it. It's got an awesome stipple job from Vinny. Currently using the Metgar 18-round flush-fitting magazines with the +5 extenders from Springer Precision, and it's super cool because they can etch your name at the bottom of them so that no one can take these from me. So you'll notice a common trend amongst all of these guns, and you'll see either a Surefire light of some sort, whether that be the Vampire, a small light, or an X300 standard, or you'll see a Trijicon or an Aimpoint Acro. I am a big fan of the Aimpoint Acro P2s. See, when it comes to optics, I am a big fan of closed emitters. And why is that? Because I work in the rain, I shoot in the rain, and it's very frustrating here in Washington. Yes, can you make an open emitter optic work in the rain? You absolutely can do that. But when you're sitting out there for over 10 hours and you're not just on the range for an hour or two, it does make a heck of a difference. So again, if you are in a position to where you work in inclement weather, highly recommend a closed emitter optic. It doesn't have to be Aimpoint. Trijicon RCRs, I heard it's pretty decent. You have the Aimpoint Acro, you have the Hollow Sun closed emitters, the 509Ts, and I think those are the only three that I would really recommend. Steiner, maybe, but I've had my Steiner break on me a bunch of times, so I don't necessarily recommend them. All right, for the next gun, Bull Armory. This thing needs no introduction. If you're looking for a video on this bad boy, I have one on the channel already talking about the Bull Armory and how good this thing shoots. Love this gun. X300 Vampire, Aimpoint Acro. And you'll notice both guns have X300 Vampires. Big fan of infrared capabilities on the system if your agency is running night vision. So for us, we have a night vision program for patrol and for our SWAT dudes. It is an amazing force tool, being able to control a situation where a subject cannot see you and you are throwing infrared light. Highly recommended if your agency hasn't looked at that. So if I'm being as so bold to say that the X300 Vampire is probably one of the only applicable weapon-mounted handgun lights for infrared. I know like Streamlight makes a couple, but I've had those flicker on me in the past. But if you're looking for an X300V or like a way to see in the nighttime with your handgun, highly recommend the X300V. This gun right here is the Glock 47 with the Surefire XC3, the RMR HD. So this is an open emitter gun. This one is my fun gun. This is what I use to teach at the PD, and sometimes I carry it. I call this thing my woods gun. And the reason why I called it that, so we had a warrant service that we were serving not too long ago, and it was actually more of like a manhunt than a warrant service, where we were trudging through some terrain that I'm sure you guys saw on my social media. We were hunting for a murder suspect that had just shot somebody, and we knew he was staying in the woods. We had to go into the woods, and we were there for hours on hours on hours with some of the worst terrain like that I've ever been in. It was shitty. And I was like, I want it to carry a light polymer gun. I don't want to carry a 2011 with me in the woods. Plus, I was carrying a rifle. I want to have the pistol as a peace of mind, but I didn't want to carry my staccato. So I'm like, all right, I'm bringing this bad boy. This gun is a workhorse. This thing shoots really well. It's super accurate gun. And again, sometimes when people talk shit, whenever they're like, hey, you're doing that with the 2011, sick, do it with a Glock. I'm like, okay, and I'll pull this thing out and start running this bad boy. The RMR HD has been super great. The optic is, I never thought I would really like a really like large screened, like windowed optic, but this one is super cool. And then the XC3 is honestly super bright. So summertime, if we have a clear forecast and we're not expecting any rain, I'll carry this on duty just for funsies. It's super nice, especially with the single finger activation of the XC3. Super bright, super chill. So other than carrying this thing on patrol, I have used this for concealed carry on duty. So we've done like plainclothes takedowns of subjects before, and I opted to have this gun rather than like a tiny 43X because I wanted the ability to have like a full-size gun in my hands rather than like a subcompact pistol. So I usually carry this in like a T-Rex arms holster of some sort. But sometimes this thing will also go into the Blade Tech Valor holster. This thing is super cool. Initially, I didn't like the Blade Tech Valor holster, but this deserves a video in and of itself. I just wanted to say the OT Defense nub is an attachment for the Blade Tech holster. This is what made me like the holster. Initially, with the original button, was not a fan. Didn't want to carry it. Didn't want to draw with it because it was like hurting my hands to draw the gun fast. So when I got this nub from OT Defense, that made this thing well worthwhile, in my opinion. So highly recommend if you have a Blade Tech Valor, check out the OT Defense nub. And then another gun that I carry for funsies, it's Old Faithful, the original Staccato P. This one I can still carry on occasion, but realistically speaking, I built this because of Ready or Not. Ready or Not allowed you to have like a Staccato P in the game, and the only thing they would authorize was in the game was an RMR or an SRO X300, and I'm like, dang, there's no other optics for this thing? Whatever, so I just threw an RMR on it. It is a great gun. The RMR that's on this bad boy right now is a 1 MOA RMR, so it's a super, super crisp dot. Really, really nice to shoot. This, in my opinion, for a 2011, if you're looking for one, and you're like, man, I have all these options for 2011s, you cannot go wrong with a standard Staccato P. This is, in my opinion, the industry standard, and it's really hard to beat it. The Scar. So I've been carrying a Scar light on duty. It's kind of like, kind of like wearing a new pair of shoes, the way I always tell people. It's like the shoes will absolutely go on your feet, and they will get you to point A to point B. No problems at all. But sometimes when you put a new pair of shoes on, it feels different, and you're like, I kind of like this feeling. So here we are, Scar light. I think it's a 10.5-inch barrel. Running the Cobalt Kinetic Scrambler, Mall DA, and the Surefire Swivel Headlight. The reason why I like the Surefire Swivel Headlight is because with a Mall, trying to make the vertical adjustments on elevation gets difficult when I have a fixed bar here. So the ability to just take this light and move it out of the way to make those adjustments is super cool. Mall DA, in my opinion, the best laser on the market. There's a reason why I have multiple of them that I paid for with my own money that I've never received for free. I buy these things because they work so well and they are robust and they won't die. I'll just put that out there right now. So traditionally with the laser offset and to the right, like a PEC 15, a D-ball, a Mall, or whatever this case may be, if I wanted to shoot the center mass of something, I had to turn on the laser, lift the gun up, and place the laser up and to the right, which is something that I hated doing. Issues that we were starting to see is that when we'd lift the gun up like such, I would be pretty much looking through my optic. And I wanted that fourth point of contact, being my cheek, is what was driving that a lot. So I would like get a cheek weld on the gun. And I'm like, I'm already looking through my optic at this point, so there's no point. So what we've opted to do, cant the gun, and now I have that fourth point of contact being my chin or my cheek. I can lift the gun, and now I can see a clear line of sight. The only thing I have is this, the mull in the way. But now when I lift the gun, I could shoot the gun with absolutely no issues. And because the laser is canted, now it's a 12 o'clock hold. So I just hold the laser directly above what I want to engage up to a certain distance, and it's gonna be the same as my red dot. So both my laser and my red dot zeroed at 100 yards. I wanted to make sure that for the majority of the shooting that I'm doing, I only wanted hold overs, no hold unders, versus if I were running a 50, in order to get an impact on a target at 100 yards with a 50-yard zero, I had to favor low. I didn't want that. My brain doesn't process that information. My brain only processes height over bore, so aiming above, or when things are really far away, I aim above it. I didn't want any hold unders. So for the case of the SCAR, I have an aim-point T2 and a ScalarWorks 1/3, which is a 157 mount. The SCAR has a natural like height over bore that's a little bit taller than your ARs. So I wanted to have a smaller mount so that the way I would hold on a 193 on an AR system, it's going to be the exact same here. As well, because of the ability to place the stock where you want it to, I have it sit a little bit lower so that it's a super comfortable method to cheek this gun. And it feels like a 193 on an AR, but it's not a 193 on an AR. It's on a SCAR. So running the Agilite sling, super cool. It's got a nice little pull tab. Magpul UCS stock that's adjustable. In my opinion, what made this SCAR worthwhile is Parker Mountain Machine. Parker Mountain Machine is the only reason why this SCAR is even a viable system, in my opinion. Before I got all the PMM parts, this thing was interesting to shoot. I was like, dang, I kind of don't want this thing anymore. But the moment I got all the PMM parts, this thing has turned into like a dream to shoot. I love shooting this gun. It's probably my new favorite gun for the meantime, probably, and also because it's so different. And how many people you know running around with a SCAR on duty? I'm one of them and PJ's the other one. So we get to run SCARs on duty, and I think it's so cool. Big fan of the Magpul T-Mags, the transparent magazines. Reason why I like these things so much is that I know if I have target ammunition, duty ammunition, or simunitions in the gun, and there is no way to like mess that up. Even if we're like on a call or something, someone could look and see the magazine and what kind of bullets are in it to make sure I'm good to go. So here we have Old Faithful. The OG of the OG. So here is a Ripcord Industries AR-15 with a Criterion barrel. Cannot speak highly enough about Criterion barrels. If I have an AR, you could already expect that there's a Criterion barrel in that gun. Super accurate barrel, super accurate guns. Cobalt Kinetic Scrambler, Surefire Light, Mull X1, dual lead switches, rocking the Aimpoint T2, ScalarWorks mount. You'll notice that I love ScalarWorks mounts. They're super light, they're robust, they have the repeatable shift in terms of like, you take the mount off, you put it back on, it will maintain its zero. So ScalarWorks is probably one of the best mounts out there in my opinion. They don't die. They refuse to die. There's a reason why every single thing that I have right now has a ScalarWorks mount on it. Love them to death. Then obviously Magpul accessories, all the other stuff, and a bad lever. So I wanted to make sure you guys saw this because this is the OG. This gun refuses to die. It's a workhorse. This thing works really well. But obviously right now it's just taking a backseat to the SCAR because I'm playing with the SCAR for right now. Before we move on to the SWAT gear real quick, we'll talk briefly about like the dual lead buttons and some other stuff that we'll add on to the gun here. So I usually run around with an Infatac thermal. So the Infatac thermal is an additional thermal system that you can add onto the gun. What I've done here was got like a Monstrum Amazon RMR QD mount, whatever. Attach this, and all I need to do is clip it onto the gun. So it usually lives on the gun during SWAT operations or during certain patrol calls where I need thermal capabilities to look for a subject in the woods or something. So that thing gets thrown on here, and then I also have a dual lead switch for a lot of my equipment. So what you'll notice is when I press the button, I have white light. So white light goes on, all that other stuff. The moment I slip this thing to Viz, you can't see it because it's too bright, but I have laser and white light. So what's super nice about this is that for a lot of us at work, the lasers become our primary aiming system. So we're turning on the laser in conjunction with white light to get PID, especially at night. Even during certain warrants or in the day, it allows me to have white light and a way to aim the gun when I'm still somewhat at a low ready sitting right here. So as soon as the gun comes up, I have laser, I have white light, no problems at all. I could work the gun this way, and I'm not sucked into the gun via the optic. So if you are running some kind of a vis laser, I'm always gonna recommend, the reason why we love them all, is that we have a laser that you can see during the day that is daytime visible. If you do not have that, I do not recommend using the laser as an aiming system unless it's under night vision. All right, now for the SWAT carrier. So same carrier as my patrol one. So this is the Pero's LP-SPC V2, same armor setup. So side armors from Faro. The cummerbunds are gonna be from Pero's. The only difference is I'm running HESCO plates, rifle rated plates in the front and on the back. Super comfortable plates, probably the plates that I would recommend the most right now, just because I have the most time on them. One thing I did forget to talk about very briefly on the last one was the quick detach cummerbund. So these quick detaches are super nice. All I have to do is pull out and I can go up or down depending on which direction I want to go. And what I've done for my patrol carrier and the SWAT carrier in this case was attach the female end or the male end of the QDs to the actual placard. So the reason why I've done that is it allows myself to pull the placard against your body tighter. I always hated whenever we threw Velcro on something, the wings of the placard are like sticking out more. And then no matter how much you try to push it in on the sides, they would never like adhere to the shape of the carrier. So in this case, with these things, what I'm able to do is attach the QDs directly to the placard. And then now, when I throw this thing on, it pulls on the actual placard and it keeps it nice and contoured to your carrier. So pretty much the same setup. Obviously, there's a couple different things on here that usually you wouldn't see on my patrol carrier. Sometimes the BRB, the breach and rescue bar, goes on my patrol carrier, but because of a recent SWAT operation, that's why my earpiece and my BRB is currently on the SWAT kit. I have a second carrier from Hyperion Strategies coming soon, and that one's gonna go and live permanently on the patrol gear or vice versa, depending on what I wanna do. So there are some slight differences to the SWAT carrier in comparison to my patrol carrier, but again, I have the mentality, it's like different mission. I know my gear is different, and I know that the gear is placed in a different location. And I know that my radio adjustment happens here. I know my body cams, all that other stuff. Like, I have the ability to kind of go between the two. It's like driving my patrol vehicle and my truck. I don't mess up where the gear shifters are because I know they're different vehicles. Okay, so from the left side here, I have the one of those like radio wings that we have from Pero's. So all I did was shove my taser in there. Sits there. If I need it, I'll grab it. If I need to throw it away expeditiously, goes in a dump pouch. Speaking of dump pouch, the belt from Agilite is set up exactly the same. So the black belt that I have for patrol is set up exactly the same as my green one. The only main difference is that on this D-ring, I have another D-ring that we use for flex cuffs. So I attach flex cuffs to this. But other than that, exact same belt, exact same setup, nothing has changed. So I have a first beer pouch here, which is super cool. I pull down on this tab. I could stretch the elastic, push it in. I could tighten it as I see fit. So I could throw DDs in there. I can throw an extra magazine, a radio, whatever the case may be, that can go in there. Dynamic Principles placard. So same placard system. And from left to right, flashlight, magazine, radio, and body cam. The way I have the body cam mount attached. So this is from 09 Kydex. It's a Kydex holder. There's like a row of Molly right on the upper portion of the placard. So then I was like, what if I just take the Molly and put it in the body cam holder, shove this thing down as much as it'll go, and once it's down, body cam. And I'm like, boom, we're good. So I could activate it. There's enough space for the microphone to get as much air as it needs to, so it doesn't sound like it's muffled. And it's in a perfect position where it's out of the way, because in this case, I want to prioritize my rifle shouldering. So if I shoulder my rifle here, nothing is in the way of my buttstock. So we're good to go here. No issues with this stuff. Again, obviously patch panel. I have an Endura microphone. The Endura mic is super cool. I can plug my helmet comms into this thing and use it as a PTT for my helmet. Or if I want to plug an earpiece like it's in here right now, I could use this as a standard patrol microphone. It just really depends. Hyperion Strategies carrier with the Good Dudes breaching rescue bar. Super nifty. Again, highly recommend that thing. And then for groin armor, I have a system from Shaw Concepts. Probably hard to beat, in my opinion. A lot of the guys are running like systems like such, and I hated how fucking large this thing was. So I didn't run that, and I decided to have this. So with this thing, goes on, comes off very easy. What I've done on the front is I've put some handcuffs in here just in case, and then I have a tourniquet in here. But the big benefit to this whole system is that there's armor in here. So it's 3A soft armor, protecting my groin areas. So if you are looking for armor, highly recommend the stuff from Shaw Concepts. Again, I've never ran into any issues with them, but I would always say like explore your options, but Shaw Concepts makes a really good solution. And as you can see, it's pretty easy to put back on, but it's not meant to be expeditiously. I've never had a situation where I had to put these things on super quickly. Shoulder pads on both black and green carriers are from Peros. And then I also have the Ferro Concepts Roll 1 on the small of the back of the carrier here. And that's pretty much my SWAT carrier. I don't feel the need to have 17 rifle mags or even 3 or 4. I have one in the gun. I got one in the belt. If I need to, I could throw a rifle mag here. But we're not, with a team of about 20 dudes, we're not getting into prolonged rifle-based engagements, and that's not necessarily a thing for us, nor does the data support it for us. Will that change when data changes? Yeah, maybe. But for right now, I'm good with having 2 magazines, rifle magazines, and spare pistol mags. You know what I mean? So with the SWAT stuff, obviously comes the helmet and nods and the gas mask. So the gas mask I have is an Avon M50. The way I put this bad boy on, it's super chill, and it's from the carriers from Thrift Supply. All I do, give myself a hug, clip this bad boy on, and I usually have this thing sitting directly underneath my dump pouch. And if I want to grab the mask, open up both zippers, and I usually have the mask facing away from me with the, obviously, all the straps on the front end of the mask like such, so that I could just throw this thing on, come over, and do my thing. This obviously was horribly staged by me, so that's my fault. But super cool. Avon M50, it's what I use in the Marine Corps. I got a voice projection unit, which I highly recommend. It's a lot easier to give commands. So for example, if I put the mic here somewhere in front of me, I start talking into it, it's very difficult for me to hear. But now if I do this, now you can hear me, and I can tell you to get on the ground or start crawling to me, and you won't have any issues hearing me. So again, highly recommend these voice projection units for whatever gas mask your team is running or your entity or organization is running. And it's also easier to talk on communications that way. I don't have a mic that directly feeds in to my gas mask. I think it'd be cool if I could find one, but I haven't found one yet. But until that day, I just got to deal with what I got. So gas mask holder, super chill. Okay, and then after that, the last thing we'll talk about today is going to be the helmet. So still running the same helmet that I have been for the last couple years now. So as the revision came in, I think it's what it's called. Super nifty, helmet super light, very comfortable. I have upgraded in the insides of 4D pads, got Peltor Comtax headsets, Shaw Concepts pouch on the back that actually attaches to the screws that gives you the ability to hold extra batteries and has Velcro ID panels in the back. Cadex mount for my night vision. I have a Mohawk IR infrared camera, as well as just a standard infrared strobe, and then the Unity marks. I like the Unity mounts for the Peltors, so they continuously add pressure to the ear rather than have the ability to pop out. And then we have for the night vision itself is we have the Katana moldeds. I'm not a night vision connoisseur, nor have I ever claimed to be, because I don't know how these things work, and I don't know what the numbers mean. So when someone tells me a FOM, I just recently found that it stands for figure of merit. I guess that's like clarity of night vision. All I know is this: the homie at dark, i.e. Joe, knows what he is talking about. So whenever I've ever had questions for him, he always has the ability to answer the questions, give me an answer that like my brain can comprehend. So far, the older system that I had, which was the BNVD Ultralights, the body was cracking, the system internally was all messed up, and it was built wrong. I was like, hey, can you look at this for me and tell me if this is fine? He got the system, and he was like, there was some stuff messed up with it, obviously. He fixed it, and I asked him, like, can you change the body for me? He did that, no problems at all. He did that with a 14 that was broken. The guy is a super good dude and he takes care of us. Joe from Dark Industries, super kind human being, super nice dude, very knowledgeable in what he's doing. So I highly recommend if your team, organization, or entity is looking for night vision for duty, or just you as an individual want night vision, reach out to Joe. He will take care of you. He will answer all the questions because he is a nerd like me, but just for night vision. I am a nerd in other things, not night vision. Well, I hope for you guys that this video was educational because I learned a lot about my own gear and about myself making this video and how many times it took. So I got nothing else for you guys. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. Thank you for always watching the channel. Thank you for requesting these videos. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys. I'm having a lot of fun still with getting to meet the people that I get to meet and getting to interact with the people that message me on here. So with that, guys, remember, be a dude. Don't be a dick. Take care. Love you. We'll see you on the next video.